Welcome back to my channel. And today we are working on the next pop culture icon. And this month it is going to be Rochelle from The Craft, as you can see here, and her besties. And this character holds a very special place in my heart. Um, because, growing up in school, I was the weird kid. Um, I don't say people called me a weirdo. So when I saw this movie, one of my favorite lines in the movie is when the girls are getting off the bus and the bus driver says, "Watch out for those weirdos." And Nancy goes, "Mister, we are the weirdos." And so it really resonated. It also um, was really nice to see a person of color who was into, witchcraft. And because I've always been drawn to witches and vampires, and I've always liked, quirky, darker kind of movies like The Addams Family and Beetlejuice. And I love all those movies. And this was the first movie where I saw a person of color that was, you know, in you know, in that space. And it was just lovely to see. I did resonate with her storyline, as I have dealt with racism, being the only person of color in white spaces. Um, One of the things I wish the movie would have done to really round out Rochelle's character, with the other girls, you really saw how, their family life, the difficulties they were going through, and it kind of shows like how these girls probably found each other. And it would have been really nice to see Rochelle's family, like what was going on there. Um, I just think it would have rounded out that story even more, because when you're a teenager, you come together because of similarities, of struggle. There's just things that bring you together, especially at that time when you're a teenager. So, the doll base, I'm using this doll base. I am going to be dyeing her skin with Rite Aid. I've done this before. Um, I'll show you my little me. This is little me version with my striped skirt and my t-shirt that I made. Um, so I'm going to be doing similar where I dye her skin. Her hair is going to get darker. And, um, but the first thing I'm going to do is Rochelle has naturally curly hair, very tight coils. That's how my hair looks. And I don't know, like, I'm going to do my best, but what I'm going to do is I'm using pipe cleaners to put in her hair. And when I dye this doll, because I'm kind of doing a 2 for 1. When I dye her skin and her hair, because normally when I would do this, you would just dunk, you know, the head in boiling water and then let it dry overnight, and then take them out, and you have like very curly hair. Well, since I'm going to be doing that, I might as well the when I do the Rite Aid, it's going to be boiling water. So I'm just going to do all it in one shot, dye everything, her skin, her hair, and then the next day after it dries, I will take it all out, and she should have curly hair. And it'll be cool to see how that turns out. So it's going to be experiment, but I did want to show you how I was doing this. Um, so I'm just taking this little hair and clipping it, kind of folding it, not clipping it, but folding it over. And I'm putting the hair so it goes all the way down, so it's just like one curl. Obviously, these are really much longer because I've done this on bigger dolls, but I don't want to cut these down because these are I use these I reuse these pipe cleaners, so I don't want to cut them down for this tiny doll because I don't know if the chances of me actually, I don't know if I'm going to do this again. If I am, then I might just get different pipe cleaners specifically for the smaller dolls and cut them down so they're littler. But like I said, it's experimenting. If it doesn't turn out right, then I can always do it again. Not a big deal. But I am making sure that the curl is like down, like the pipe cleaners are going down like that. So I just wanted to show how I do this. So I'm just doing the back of the hair. I'm trying to do, I was going to experiment with getting like, um, and maybe I'll do that another time, buying like wire that's like smaller and then experimenting that way. But since this is a method I've already used, I just want to see if it works. So that's just the back of her hair, and then this is like the top. So I'm going to continue working on her hair, and then I will show you when I get ready to dye her. Hello. So I'm back after a few days. It's been quite a struggle um, when it comes to when it came to coloring her skin, which I didn't have the problem the first time, and trying to curl her hair. Okay, so I'm going to show you first of her hair. There we go. So I put her hair in, I braided them with thread because the original idea was to put pipe cleaners in her hair, and then you put boiling water over it and let it set overnight. Well, when the curls came out, they did not come out well at all. I knew it was a risk. So that's why I'm trying this no heat with braiding her hair with thread to see if it gives it a bit of a wave. If it gets at least a wave, I'll call that a win because, this is a tiny head with hair, unless it was already rooted with curly hair. I mean, this is probably as good as it's going to get. Then for her body, I went ahead and painted her top and bottom. Originally, I thought I was going to make a little t-shirt, but I didn't. So I'm going to paint on the sleeves and then add a collar because she's wearing a white collared shirt, and to give it that faux look of a shirt. Um, and then for her skirt, I did have footage of this, but again, it was not turning out well. I don't know what was going on. Like I said, her hair didn't turn out right, and I was having lots of problems this time with the dye. So this is her skirt that's been cut out because I have a pattern I made. And then I glued a little bit of tacky glue on the ends, on the top and the end, to keep from fraying. I've painted her shoes. And so those are her shoes. I've got her little necklace here. That's her little necklace I made. It's a beaded necklace. So these are very tiny seed beads that I painted black and then thread them through a black thread, and hopefully that will look real nice because she is wearing a beaded necklace in the picture. And then for her suspenders, I used duct tape that I taped on the back of this velvet fabric. So I'm going to be using this side because this is going to give like the leather look of the suspenders, but then gluing them on to the shirt is going to be much easier because of the fabric. The other side is fabric. I also have earrings. Well, appear to be earrings. I just dropped it. Oh man. They're so tiny that I'm like, great. What did I do it? Okay. Well, I could show you one. So this one is like, she actually has cross earrings on, but I was not sure I could make one that small. So I made that by cutting out, I'm trying to get this to focus, by cutting out pieces out of this metal button to give her, like, metal earrings. Okay, so I'm back after taking all of the string out to do braids to do wavy. And I know I said before that if it was wavy it was a win. Well, I was lying to myself because that does not look good at all. So that is the second thing I've tried to make her hair curly or at least wavy. So what I'm going to do now is I have these very thin cocktail straws. They're very thin, and I am going to go ahead and cut these down and clip these in to make little ringlets and clip them in with the bobby pin and see if I can't get something. So this is my third try with her hair, so hopefully three times a charm, as they say, and I will be back after that. Hello, so I wanted to give you a quick update on hair. So when I said before three times a charm, apparently I was lying to myself because it did not work. Um, it just was not curling at all. And like I said before, it's really important that she has her naturally curly hair. So I remembered I had a hair stash of like naturally curly hair. I was actually doing another doll, a bigger doll, where I was um, putting naturally curly hair, and I thought, okay, I'll do it on her. So this is one side. I ended up cutting all the hair off, which I didn't want to do, but it was the only way I can add like the new hair. So right now I just got one side glue, and then I'm going to flip this over and then do the other side and then trim. So I'm trying to show you it. And I think one of the reasons why I was trying to keep this hair and curl it um, with the hair that was already attached is because in the movie, the Rochelle character has blonde highlights because that was very popular to do in the 90s. But because this hair is very dark, but again, I'm glad just to have a backup. So, um, so when I'm all done putting your hair in and trimming it, I will show you how it looks, and we will finally be able to move forward. Okay? Okay, so I'm back. I've done several takes. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to explain what I'm doing and the errors and why this has been such a process. But I have the image of Rochelle, the character from the craft, and she's got her suspenders, which I have cut out, and I will explain the the challenge with that and what I had to do. Here is her hair that I finally put in. I had the natural hair. Lord. Okay, so she's got her beautiful natural hair, and I'm so glad that it worked out and that I had that on hand. And I have her necklace, I have the stand, I have the little earrings, her collar, her shoes. I also am going to be painting on her black socks, her knee high socks. And I have this plaque I got from Dollar Tree that is a wreath charm, and it came with a wire so that I can hang it up. And what I decided to do is I made this on Canva, and I put light as a feather, stiff as a board, which is a reference to a scene in The Craft where Rochelle is the one who's in the middle, and the three girls are on each side reciting light as a feather, stiff as a board as they raise her by their fingers alone and she floats in the air. So I thought that was a great way to nod for Rochelle since she was the one chosen to be the experiment. So hopefully that made sense. Um, so for her suspenders, what I did is I used some black velvet fabric and then I put black duct tape on the back. Well, when I started to cut into it, like all the little, it was like shedding, like a husky. It was like all the little fabric bits were coming off. So then I went ahead and put Mod Podge on the strip so that when I cut it, it wouldn't fray. I also made them a lot thinner because I was making them too big. So now I'm going to again attempt to try to put her all together. Um, I want to make really clear, like, I don't want to hide my mistakes or anything, but like when I'm, filming different parts, I could be talking for 5 to 6 minutes. That's a long time to be talking. And not that I don't go in and cut things down, but I don't want to have all of like that much footage of like things just going awry. I'd rather like explain it. Anyway, okay. So I have painted her socks twice. I went ahead and put her earrings on with super glue. So, and then for her lips, I painted on her lips um, because the original face had a smile. And, these are teenagers. They weren't doing a lot of smiling. So I wanted to close that off. And then I mixed a little bit of magenta and brown to make this really dark lip color. So now I'm going to go ahead and I think the first thing I'm going to do is I went ahead and Mod Podged this. And this is just on printer paper. So before I did the Mod Podge, I did a spray of Fixodent, which sets the ink. Because if you just do Mod Podge, the ink will bleed. So that will set it. And then you can put Mod Podge. Hello. So I wanted to share the finishing touches that I was hoping to film, but I realized in this process, this was a lot of challenges in here. The original, because I'm so used to making little stands for this doll, I totally spaced the fact that I was going to be putting her on a plaque, so she didn't need a stand. So then I cut it down because I'm going to place it here so I can stick her, Rochelle, right next to the the game that they played in the movie. So I did end up putting her necklace on and her collar, which was very finicky, and I just didn't think filming it because I found that filming each little part of these things were taking way longer than I thought, and you know, it just seemed like so much. But I will be adding pictures throughout to hopefully give you more of a visual of everything that I made. But at the end, I am happy how she turned out. I think everything finally came together. I did fix the hole because there was a hole in her shoe, and I actually used model magic, but it fell off. So I ended up using tissue paper black tissue paper to fix that on her shoe. So now I'm just going to put her on her plaque. I was debating whether I wanted to glue her down. I was thinking about drilling a hole and doing all this stuff, but I thought that's just so much extra, and I don't plan on ever taking her off of this. And even if I have to, I can always redo the skirt. I have the skirt pattern, so it's not as big a deal as I'm making it out. So I want to go ahead and put her on her plaque. And oh, I have two super glues. I have one that works really well, and well, I guess that's the good one. Okay. Here, so I'm just gonna place that on there. then I'll be able to, so I'm gonna put some super glue on the back here. I'm just gonna let that sit there. And she is done. I did put the wiring in to hang up, which I will show in the reveal pictures. But this is what she's looking like. And despite all the challenges, I do like how she turned out. And I think this is going to be a very cool piece to hang up in my art room. So I just want to thank everyone who's joined and watched. I hope that you're enjoying this Polly Pocket pop culture series. And I will see you in the next Polly Pocket video. Bye.